Well, it is game time, and the second half of the baseball season starts today. The Giants are on the road in Pittsburgh, and the A's are at the Coliseum. Tonight, they'll be taking on the Twins. So to break that down and more, we are now joined by former GM and current Sirius XM baseball analyst, Jim Duquette. Good morning. Thanks for being here, Jim. Hi.
Good morning, Gianna. How are you?
I am good. I'm excited to talk about the Giants and get this second half rolling. So Giants are only 2.5 games out in the NL West right now. Are you at all surprised that they're in the mix, doing this well? And what are kind of your expectations for the second half?
You know, I'm a little surprised. I think if you go back to, let's say, the beginning of the season, the expectations were a little bit lower, at least league wide. I know they had high expectations when I was there in spring training, but this is a team that has played really, really well, really since the beginning of the season, starting, with the exception of the first 2 weeks of the season. So they are clearly a team that has been playing well, on the rise. They've won, obviously, the last two going into the break. And they're a team that they're obviously the third wild card right now. So they're postseason bound if the season ended today. I think they need to upgrade on the offensive side. Second base, because of Estrada being out and injured, is a spot where I think they're going to start. And I would be surprised if they don't make some kind of trade here at the trade deadline. Deadline is August 1st. Maybe a couple. St. Louis has a player, Paul DeYoung, that would fit really well at second base, and he can play multiple positions, which is what the Giants like to do when they're upgrading their rosters. Find those versatile players. He's an offensive piece as well. I think he's a guy that I would expect to be on their radar.
Yeah, and I mean, they are doing pretty well. We're pleasantly surprised here in the Bay to see that they're kind of making that gradual momentum as we get in the second half. All right, speaking of players potentially moving, there is a lot of speculation about whether Angel star Shohei Otani will be traded at the deadline. Is there a chance he could land here in the Bay with the Giants?
Well, here's the thing. Otani's the biggest story in Major League Baseball right now. What's going to happen to him, right? I mean, he's the best player right now in the sport. And, we saw him at the All-Star game. He has had an unbelievable season so far. His June was historic. He's a two-way player right now. He's dealing with a blister, right? We know that. But I don't think he's going to be traded by the Angels. They're still in the hunt right now. Now, there's a lot of speculation if they start to fall out, and they might because they have a bunch of injuries. Mike Trout, is also he's on the injured list right now. So there's a chance that they could fade quickly right out of the break, and they may decide to change course there. But I think Otani is a really difficult player to trade. Obviously, his popularity there in Los Angeles, how much it's going to take to get him in return. So I think those are factors that I don't think he'll be available, but I do think the Giants are going to be in play when he's a free agent at the end of the year.
I'm kind of hoping for that as well. I would love to see him over here in the Bay. I think every Giants fan would. Okay, let's talk about the other team, the Oakland A's. Let's head across the Bay. Commissioner Rob Manfred said this week that the A's have started their relocation process to Las Vegas. So talking to people around baseball, do you see this as a done deal at this point? Are they headed to Vegas?
Yeah, it's a tough one because, I spoke with the commissioner myself on my radio show at the All-Star break. Yeah, he was there. I was in Seattle. He was there, too. We talked about this specific issue. I've been following it very closely. And unfortunately for Oakland fans, it hasn't done yet, but it certainly seems like it is 97 or 8% done. There's always that chance, when you go to sign the agreement, which I don't believe has been done yet, that things could go awry. We've seen that before with deals, but it felt like the commissioner was certainly going down the road. I asked him, usually when the Oakland and the Tampa situation, when that stadium situation has been resolved, they're willing to talk about expansion, which is on the horizon. He wasn't willing to look ahead to expansion yet, which means there's still a glimmer of hope that maybe the deal would not go through there for Vegas and maybe the team could go back to Oakland. But it's so far down the road, it seems very, very unlikely that they would stay in Oakland.
Yeah, that's going to be a bummer for A's fans for sure. Well, thank you so much. You can catch Jim on MLB Network Radio on Sirius XM today at 7. All right, thank you.